Hi, thank you for joining me. This is Laura's View and Tarot 2. And tonight I would like to talk a little bit about an item that was in the news tonight, that the Speaker of the House, Nancy P., has tested positive for the China flu despite having multiple cures inserted in herself. If you're listening to this channel or ones like it, you know that we have to be careful in how we phrase things. So bear with me as I try to come up with phrasing that won't get me strike from YouTube or taken down. Anyway, I want to go a little past the fact that announcement was made about her health, because in truth-seeking community forums, there's been a certain decode going around saying that diagnoses such as these are actually a calm, and it's usually involving apprehension or thwarting of bad actors. Hope you're following me here as I phrase it this way. But tonight, on another side, there is a theory, and it hasn't been proven. They were asking people to speculate and come up with it, that the recent rash of positive diagnoses that have been in the news has been bad actors trying to vote on a course of action regarding a certain person who is in an administrative position. So now I'm not planning to go into that with my question. I would just like to ask the cards tonight, when we read about influential people in the public eye, I have to be real specific, or it's going to talk about ones that maybe aren't in the public eye because they've been dealt with in some way. So my question for the universe is going to be, public figures, be they avatars or stand-ins or the genuine article, but people that are acknowledged in the public eye as being a person in an elected or governmental capacity, when they have recently been sharing that they have a diagnosis of that flu that's going around, is it a calm? And which type is it? Is it for the white hats to signal there's been another apprehension, or is it this voting with the opposite end of the spectrum, the deep state? So let's see what the cards have to say. The question again is, people or avatars, or those who are pretending to be the people that are in the public eye in high government office, etc., who are announcing positive testing for a certain type of flu. Is it a calm? And what type is it? Let's see what the cards have to say, because if we phrase this right and ask it right, the universe does not lie. If we're treated to an answer, it will be an honest one. So one moment, I'm going to flip the camera so you can see me continue the shuffle and see the deals, so you know that I truly am just getting the cards that are given to us by the universe, not by design on my part. So I think we have an answer here. Let's see how the cards read. And I'm going to explain as we go what they read to me. Our question is indicated by the Lovers, which is about partnership and balance, not in this case so much a romantic type of reading. But that's how we, those who are awake, people that are interested in this question I'm asking tonight, that's how we're represented. Okay, the situation is we are asking, are these calms when we see notices about important people having that positive diagnosis? And the Swords here kind of indicates a yes. Now, she interests me because she is not tightly bound and could always walk away. And for whatever reason, at this point in the card has chosen not to. So our situation is we're wondering, you know, what's going on? Are people being apprehended? Or is this a some sort of subtle voting thing that's happening with the dark cats? Okay, in the past, the Wands, this is a strife and conflict card. So there has been a lot of strategic and tactical issues that have taken place to have things happen. Let's look at the present because that's where it starts to get interesting for me. The Page of Wands is about cautious optimism and looking towards the future. And he's also looking at this bound person because it's kind of important to be looking at where are the cards focused when they have people on them. You know, you can see right here that the Lovers are kind of looking at each other, but there's a gaze at us. They're not looking at the past or the future. They're looking at each other. And then they're being overseen by this celestial figure. So the Page of Wands, since it's cautious optimism, I am getting the answer that yes, these are calms, because now remember, I keep saying that Wands for me are a communication card. Now in traditional tarot, part of learning to read tarot is learning what the cards say for you. And for me, when I see Wands, it talks about communication that involves action. Normally, if it didn't, it would just simply be more of an action card, that there's lots of strife. He's getting ready to take a journey. I'm attributing it to the fact that for over a quarter of a century, I was in education and writing action type plans for students with special needs. So I think right now for me, that's the reason why you'll hear me say that for me, the Wands also speak about communication, because that was such a big part of my life for so long. Now, as I slide into doing these current event tarot reads more and leave that former career behind, which will happen the end of May, it'll be interesting to see if the cards speak in a different way to me. But right now, don't take this for your own advice on what these cards mean. I'm just telling you that quite often, for me, when I see Wands, they talk about communication, either written or spoken, that is going to indicate some action. So action's being taken, and it's being taken by the white hats. Look at what that page is wearing. I love that the universe has a sense of humor and loves us dearly. Let's look ahead. So the comms are by the white hats. This isn't necessarily the voting that people were worrying was happening with all these major figures announcing. It is more what we've been hearing, that when we see these diagnoses, there's a subtext to it. And you're welcome on your own to find where those can be found. The judgment is happening in the future, and judgment means exactly what it seems to me. Those who are being apprehended, even if some version of themselves is allowed to seem to be appearing in public and in office and whatever, they are facing judgment. Let's look at the advice and clarification cards because they're kind of interesting. So we have here another strife card with the swords, and it's the end of the fight. You can see that the opponents are walking away. they put down their weapons so that they could walk away. And the victor, not looking too triumphant, just simply resolved, has more than one weapon in his hands. Okay. He's not dressed fancy and he's not in a crown or anything else, but he's been ground troops. And so we owe a lot of thanks to people that we won't know specifically and individually in this huge fight that's been happening, not just in my country, but across the planet. So pause and take a minute to thank people that have got, in some cases, given all to make sure children have a chance, to free people, to restore our world more to the path that our loving Creator intended when the earth was made. The Hermit card. He's overseeing the judgment. Isn't that interesting? Look, he's looking at judgment. Okay, the Hermit card quite often means off-world energy, and that can take more than one type of form, and I'm not going to say which one it is for me, but I do believe there is a lot more to our reality than this, than what we see, the three-dimensional aspects of our lives. And even if it's just simply that I believe that there's a loving Creator, and I absolutely do, there is an off-world presence that's watching over and assisting with the judgment that we are seeing. So that's it for tonight as far as this read goes. If you've been wondering about those diagnosis items in the news, yes, they are comms, and they are white hat comms, according to what the cards have said to me and through me to you tonight. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, share it. You're welcome to comment, and please feel free to give me suggestions on what you'd like the cards to read about. I'll consider any and all of those that are made, with genuine interest. Thank you so much. Good night. Until next time, stay safe.